In the spirit of reconciliation, integrated living acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today.
Hello and welcome. My name is Catherine Daly, CEO of Integrated Living Australia, a community-based health and aged care service provider. I'm thrilled to be welcoming you to our brand new platform, our Live Well podcast. As the media and digital landscape evolves, we want to be able to offer our clients, team members and listeners more broadly a new way to hear from us. Our Live Well podcast is for everyone in our Integrated Living Australia community and for anyone who loves a great story. Each edition will speak directly with Integrated Living Australia staff, our support workers, registered nurses and people from across the country and hear their stories, those on the front line who deliver exceptional care to thousands of older Australians in regional, rural and remote areas.
Welcome everyone to the Live Well podcast. Today I welcome two very special guests, our wonderful client Veronica, who attends our Gorokan Wellness Centre, and our senior exercise physiologist Judith. Now, this edition of the podcast, we wanted to touch on pushing comfort zones. We know that over the last couple of years, especially during these new times of COVID restrictions, that we're already pushing our comfort zones in many ways, but also leaning into our comfort zones in ways that we've never experienced before. We're spending a lot more time at home, choosing who you keep close socially, and perhaps the idea of re-entering society in a new way and meeting new people again, doing different things is a challenge to our comfort zone in itself in a new way. So I want to warmly welcome our guests today, Veronica and Judith, and introduce you firstly to our client, Veronica. Now, Veronica's got a very special story in relation to pushing comfort zones. Veronica turned 80 years young earlier this year, and Veronica shares with us that she loves a challenge, and she has actually done something that is most spectacular earlier this year to celebrate her 80th birthday. Veronica, I welcome you to the podcast, and I would love the first question. What is it that you did to celebrate your 80th birthday?
Well, I had decided a while ago, and I spoke to my sons about this desire that I've had for ages to jump out of a plane. So we went about finding where to go and what to do, any preparations, and it all sounded quite easy. So I thought, yes, what a way to celebrate 80 years.
Just spectacular. And I imagine that you received a lot of surprise, perhaps shock from your loved ones when you announced that for your 80th birthday you'd actually quite like to jump out of a plane. What were some of the reactions?
Well, my son said they wanted to come with me. So I said, feel free, we'll do this together. That's what we did.
Fantastic bonding opportunity for your son and yourself, Veronica. Who was the most nervous in the lead up to the dive?
Oh, I think my son, very definitely.
Fantastic. And tell us about how you went about choosing the particular location for the skydive and how you prepared for this adventure.
Well, unfortunately, they don't do it locally now. So we had to go up to Belmont on the way to Newcastle. And we booked in a few weeks before my birthday. But unfortunately, the weather was too bad actually on my birthday. So we had to wait until January or the beginning of February before we could do it. So we were so enthusiastic. We really wanted to do it.
And how did you feel when it came to hopping into the plane, going through the safety procedures, getting strapped in with all the safety gear, of course, that's required, and meeting the person that you'd be doing the tandem skydive with? Talk us through how you felt on the day.
Well, actually, I was pretty calm, and I'd met my partner walking out to the plane. We'd already got our harnesses on. They didn't give us all that much instruction other than we would be going in this tiny little plane. Walking out, it was a very windy day. And thank God I'd been going to the gym, because I needed all that energy I could possibly just to get into the plane. It was hard work. Eventually I got up there and we climbed into the plane. My son was next to me. Yes, it was quite an experience. And then we took off, and the view was absolutely stunning. I had the sea on one side, Lake Macquarie on the other, and the sewer works underneath. So I thought that was, a good place to be. And
try to avoid the sewer works around the time of the jump.
I was hoping he wouldn't drop us there. Yes, quite.
Fantastic. And you explained that it was actually a beautiful day for the jump. Can you tell us about, the moments in the lead up to the jump and how you were feeling, especially in terms of your enthusiasm initially for the jump and actually coming up to that, the seconds before you were jumping out of the plane?
Well, the scenery was so fantastic that I was busy looking at, and then I saw the lights go on in the plane, and the first person jumped off, and by this time, my partner had snuggled very close to me and strapped in well. And then my son went, and then the guy made me go towards the door, and I got to the door and I thought, I can't do this. No, I can't do it. And then he put a knee in my back and we were off. So it was quite a moment. Yes, it was quite a moment.
You mentioned when we first touched base about this story as well that even though it was a gorgeous day, when you actually jumped, there was quite a bit of cloud cover.
There was a lot of cloud cover, and it was extraordinary going through. I counted about 5 different layers of cloud. One of them was wet, and then as we dropped, it was free fall for I don't know how many seconds, but it was a horrible feeling. I didn't like it. My son said it was the best thing he'd ever done. And then he pulled the chute, and we were going around and around and around. I was getting a bit dizzy by this time. And no, it was the most extraordinary feeling. It really was.
Was there that transition between the free fall and then once the parachute caught and just being able to enjoy the ride?
Fractionally, yes. I think there were so many things I should have been doing, like looking up, because I had a video done at the same time. Everything seemed to go too quickly. I wanted time to enjoy it. And then we got lower and lower, and we arrived on the grass. I was just stunned. What an experience.
Like it went so quickly.
It did. Very, very quickly. I'm not sure how long, but...
Did it take quite some time to come down from the adrenaline rush after the jump?
Almost the rest of the day.
Oh, my goodness. Just elation and buzzing.
Yes, absolutely. My son and I, we just stood apart for ages, and then we spent the rest of the day together because it had really made us a lot closer.
Oh, of course.
It was stunning. Yeah.
Such a unique experience to share with your son as well, and for a very special birthday. Did the skydiving team also have anything to say or any remarks about the special family jump that it was and to celebrate your birthday?
Not really. They were just a bit surprised because I wasn't. They were throwing questions at me, and I don't think they realised how old I was. But no, they did say to me, "Do you think you'll be back?" And I said, "I'll come back for my 90th."
Fantastic. You might be breaking a record for your 90th birthday, Veronica.
Well, you never know.
And this being such a huge feat in terms of pushing your comfort zone, even though you were very willing, the idea was yours to go skydiving for your 80th birthday. What advice would you have for we regular people that might not necessarily be keen to jump out of a plane, but definitely have personal goals to push some of our comfort zones, especially coming out of these very brutal COVID-19 restrictions, on our community socially, and venturing out into the community again? What advice might you have for people that are thinking, I've got to shake up what I'm doing a little bit and push my comfort zone? What advice would you have, Veronica?
Absolutely. I think we've all got to have goals. Some of them ridiculous. My friends think that I'm quite nutty, but it's my life and I'm making the very best of what I can do. There's so much more I want to do. I want to go overseas again next year. I've been backwards and forwards to Europe a good many times, and I have family overseas. So that's my next challenge is to work up the more enthusiasm for going overseas next year.
And you mentioned that a part of the ability to do something quite physical, for your 80th birthday, there was an element of commitment to attending the gym, as you say, the Gorokan Wellness Centre. How does that help in terms of goal setting, like having that commitment, the baby steps that are required to achieve those bigger goals that really do push the comfort zone?
I think the commitment to the gym was desperately important, and I feel that not enough older people get the exercise that they need. And I think pushing yourself in the gym, whether it be more weights or different activities, is so important to ongoing health, both mentally and physically. I certainly couldn't have done the jump without having attended the gym. I'm so grateful for all the enthusiasm and the encouragement that the girls here have given us.
We know as well that in terms of regular commitment to movement and holistic wellbeing, eating well, moving regularly, connecting socially as well, it's all so important to our confidence to be able to set goals and achieve goals as well. How has the Gorokan Wellness Centre helped in that aspect with your own lifestyle?
I think meeting other people who you connect with every week, maybe sometimes outside of the gym, that's been important. And the encouragement of the girls has just been phenomenal. Every step of the way, they're happy to talk with you, not just as a client, but almost as a friend. It's just been remarkable. And I've been coming here it'll be 4 years in January. So I've made a commitment. Yes.
Talk about consistency. That's excellent. And have you had any challenges during that 4 years, Veronica? Have there been any minor injuries, surgeries, setbacks that it has created a bit of a challenge for you to maintain that commitment to attending?
I've had my ups and downs, as we all do when we get older. But the one thing that's been in the back of my mind the whole time was Tuesday's gym. And now hopefully I'm adding another day to the gym because it's so important in my regular life. Yes.
Fantastic. And of course, the Wellness Centre had to close its doors for a period of time during COVID-19, very strict lockdowns, and they've only just been able to open up the Wellness Centre again. So how did you get by during this extended lockdown period?
Well, I live in a retirement village and there's a 1 kilometre track around the outside. So we did that a couple of times a day. Then I've got a vegetable garden that I do a lot of digging and attending I've got 4 different areas of gardens. So that's what I've been doing doing a few exercises at home.
Fantastic. It just sounds like you have the most amazing zest for life and attitude to juicing every day as best
Absolutely.
as possible.
Yes, it's up to us. We've got to do it.
So wonderful, Veronica. Thank you so much for sharing this such a unique story and goal that you set for yourself for your 80th birthday, and how wonderful to be able to share that experience with your son.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. Now, everyone, we are speaking with Judith today, who is our senior exercise physiologist at the Gorokan Wellness Centre. Welcome, Judith. We want to ask you a couple of questions just to create a bit of an insight for our listeners at home around services the Wellness Centre offers, and how we've just spoken to Veronica and her absolute value of attending the Wellness Centre regularly and attributing that to her able mobility and her energy, her social connections as well. What importance does the Wellness Centre offer older Australians at Integrated Living?
I think the Wellness Centre offers a very holistic approach to healthy ageing. We, as well as all the physical exercise we do, we offer strength classes, we offer balance or stretch and flow classes. One of our wellness centres also offers some stretch classes, but there's a high level of social engagement and sense of community. So for people who have worked all their lives and as they get older and they decide to retire, sometimes some people may tend to feel that they've lost their sense of purpose. So it gives people a sense of re-engaging in that way. Coming to the Wellness Centre gives them the opportunity to engage. It gives them the opportunity to improve their health, whatever issues they may be having at the time. And yeah, that sense of community as well. So if they've retired and moved from family or lost that sense of community from the workplace, this is somewhere they can come to get those things.
We know that the wellness centres, they're so bright and inviting. They've got state-of-the-art exercise equipment as well. The HER exercise equipment is especially designed for older people. You can set the resistance weights at minute intervals as well. So, older Australians that are coming to the wellness centres at Integrated Living know that they've got, access to professional teams, but also state-of-the-art equipment to enjoy as well. It's such a beautiful place to walk into.
Absolutely. It doesn't feel like a gym when you walk in. They're very open. We have small group classes that are completely supervised. The machines are, as you said, state-of-the-art and purpose designed. They all operate under air pressure. So there's no big weight plates around the place. There's no big clunky equipment. There's no big frames. It's very easy to look at. It doesn't look high tech. It's easy to use. And as you say, you can increase weights by small increments. Rather than having to go and find a 1 kilo weight plate, you can push a button and increase your load as little as 100 grams if you need to. And even if you're halfway through a particular exercise and you're finding it too hard or too easy, at the touch of a screen, you can adjust the weight so that you're getting the most you can without hurting yourself. And because the classes are fully supervised, if you ever have any trouble or any questions, there's always someone to ask. And if you're between exercises and there's something in particular you wanted to work on, so you've got some arthritis or some bursitis, or you just need to work on some stretches, there's someone there who can help guide you through those.
Fantastic. It just sounds like it's very tailored to the needs of older Australians especially, and that one-on-one level of care is absolutely necessary and absolutely there. Judith, just touching on Veronica's story in particular, it just astounds us that Veronica's chosen for her 80th birthday to go skydiving. It's just amazing. Can you tell us how long you've been working with Veronica in particular on her exercise program at the Wellness Centre?
Veronica is actually one of our foundation members. So of the few people that started on the first day we opened, there's 2 that remain, and Veronica's one of them. So she's been coming, as she said, for 4 years this January, and I've had the pleasure of working with her for most of that time, and it's been an absolute ride. No, it's awesome. like all relationships, you have your ups and downs, I guess. But it's just been an absolute pleasure to help Veronica when she's hit some stumbling blocks. So to help her when things were a bit hard, and to also celebrate these monumental events. So when she's done something that is just astounding or she didn't think she could do, just sharing the joy with her and seeing the smile on her face when she's achieved it. It makes coming to work worthwhile. Doesn't feel like work when you have those moments at all.
Oh, I'd have to suggest that's got to be right up there with a career highlight in terms of, shared achievements, in terms of teamwork at the Wellness Centre. It's just a phenomenal story, and we really wanted to share it here on the podcast as well. Would you say in terms of 4-year period working with Veronica as well, that confidence has a big part to play in improving a sense of mobility and even social outreach as well, to be confident to come back to the Wellness Centre so quickly after the doors have reopened during COVID-19 lockdowns? We're touching on pushing comfort zones in this episode in particular, and Veronica just has such an amazing attitude to testing her own comfort zones as well. We asked her what advice she might have for people that really do challenge to push their comfort zones. And of course, the bar isn't necessarily for us all to jump out of an aeroplane and go skydiving, but it might be to say yes to that social catch-up where we might not have been as social over the last couple of years due to COVID-19 restrictions. It might be that we've got into undesirable eating habits and perhaps we're wanting to work on our nutrition plan. Veronica offered some great tips around attitude to pushing those comfort zones, and importantly, goal setting, and that it's not necessarily about the end goal, but about setting the micro goals to get there and setting consistent habits to reach a goal. Do you have anything to add to that around assistance to help people push their comfort zones and perhaps some of the clients that come to you at the Wellness Centre and how you're helping everyday older Australians at the centre?
I think, and this is across the board, across all of our wellness centres and all of our staff, boosting confidence, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, giving people some self-belief or giving them permission to have self-belief and to feel safe doing things that they want, that they aspire to do, whether that is they've had knee surgery and they're now using a walking frame. They want to go back to walking independently. So helping them with those stepping stones and helping them with the confidence to be able to do that in a place that is safe with supervision. So helping them, so maybe starting in the Wellness Centre, just taking those first few steps without the walking frame and then progressing to a stick, then progressing to not doing anything, and then gradually building up from being within the centre to being at home or out in the community. But absolutely agree with having your eyes on a big goal, but then breaking it down into manageable chunks so it's not overwhelming. And then within a period of time, whether you want to be able to do it in weeks or months, having a look back and seeing how far you've come, which is really important when you're having a bad day and you're not feeling as strong or you're not feeling as confident. You can look back and say, well, 3 months ago, were you able to do this? So being able to look back and see how much you've progressed and how far you've come. Because I'm sure when Veronica started, her goal was not to be able to jump out of an aeroplane and plummet to earth. It was more... Yeah, it's huge. I think Veronica's goal for memory was more, she just wanted to be more confident when she was walking and not to fall over as much, because that was a really big deal 4 years ago. And now, improvement, it's astronomical, and it's so awesome to be able to be a part of someone's journey like that. I'm very blessed. All of us that work in the Wellness Centres are very blessed to be able to help people on these journeys.
I love that the message coming through this is that the foundational elements to pushing comfort zones are quite similar. It's, having a goal, but then setting those micro habits in order to achieve that goal and sticking to it. And what I'm hearing from your comments, especially Judith, is that the power of having a team, the power of having a support team see you through and hold you to account with some of that goal setting as well is part of the recipe.
And part of what we do, we see capabilities in people that they don't see for themselves, because people do get concerned and scared. So, when we can see something, I've encouraged Veronica in particular for this, but letting her see that she's capable of doing something she didn't think she could actually do.
Fantastic.
So,
I know that our listeners tuning into this podcast are really eager to see some evidence of Veronica and her skydive. If anyone's interested to see a photo of Veronica and her skydive for her 80th birthday, please head over to our Live Well blog, where there's a full article and an image of Veronica there. We really want to thank Veronica and you, Judith, for joining us on this podcast today. It's been a really special one. We know that the community will get something out of our chat today. Absolutely inspiring story, and a reminder for us all to live every day fully as well. We've all got the capacity to do something special each day. Tune into the Live Well podcast for more inspiring stories of older Australians in regional, rural and remote areas around the country. Until next time. If you, a family member or friend, is interested in learning more about Integrated Living Australia's services, head to our website at www.integratedliving.org.au or call us on 1300 782 896 or follow us on social media by searching Integrated Living Australia. We look forward to you joining us for the next episode of the Live Well podcast.